Ladies and gents, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about the absolute banger of a platform, X. And my god, this has devolved into just the worst thing that I think humanity could have actually asked for. And I know none of us asked for it, but god damn it, we've got it. Now, it's been around a year, we've had time for the dust to settle from the transition from Twitter to X, and I think we can all agree that it's gone exactly how we thought it would have. Like, exactly. Now, there have been some recent revelations in the world of X that I think need to be spoken about because it's gone from bad to worse pretty much within the span of a month. Now, of course, you've seen the video title, and that is going to be one of the topics, but there's actually quite a few here. There's a lot of things in the X sphere that are just going awry, not going too well. And if I'm being completely honest, is borderline illegal, I think. So on today's episode of What's Popping on X, we've got undisclosed ads that have gone rampant to the point of being just outright harmful. And of course, we also have the recent changes to X's policies that a lot of people aren't aware of that actually turns this directly into a Ponzi scheme, or turns Twitter Premium into a Ponzi scheme. We'll get to that in a minute, though. That bit's wild. So if you're anything like me and you've been using X as just your way to keep in touch with people, keep up to date on things like games that you follow, anything like that, you will have noticed the word stake appearing everywhere, watermarked all over videos, and probably a few community notes pointing out that it is an undisclosed ad for Stake, a gambling platform which is against the TOS of X. Now, this alone is kind of like a nothing burger news, but it gets worse when you realize the kind of repercussion, not so much the repercussions, but what this entails and what this means. So, we all know that Twitter made a system where you can get paid if you are a premium user of Twitter. You can make revenue off of your posts. And to counter the whole fake news, clickbait, just complete lies and misinformation, they added community notes. And what was community notes supposed to do? Well, it was supposed to allow people to add context, call out lies, and disprove them. And if you were community noted, disproving what you posted or calling you out, that post would not make revenue. So this, in theory, is a fantastic way to keep people aligned and say, hey, probably don't lie, just post truthful media, and you will get paid for being a truthful member of the wider community. Fantastic in concept. In practice, absolute fucking disaster. And the reason for this is because people slowly and steadily started to realize, wait, I don't need to make revenue from X, because if I can't lie and clickbait and get these expose threads and articles out there and not get them community noted, well, I'm not going to make any money anyway. So what do? Well, simple. You take sponsorships and you just don't disclose them. And one of the biggest ones that this is happening with right now is the gambling site and crypto site. I believe it's got some crypto ties, Stake. Now, Stake has been called out many times for being extremely sketchy. Somehow all of their Stake partners that stream it 24/7 every day somehow manage to win millions almost daily, which is really weird. It was also called out and proven ages ago that these partners are given a basically playground fund that they don't have to pay for, and it's play money. They can lose it and win money from it, and I believe that they don't get paid the full winnings that they win if it's a huge win, but they do get paid a portion of it, is what I've been told. It's very shrouded in mystery, because this seems to work differently for each person that's partnered, which again, itself is really weird. But whatever, I digress. So Twitter has recently devolved to the point that as you scroll, there's all these trash videos that are pointless, they're meaningless. They now all have the Stake watermark in the bottom right-hand corner, or somewhere on the video. And what was happening is community notes were calling this out for being an undisclosed paid ad. And obviously this was becoming a bit of an issue because these creators were being paid to put the Stake logo on these tweets as Stake partners, but weren't disclosing it. Now, they always used the excuse of, oh, I just took this video from someone else. Oh, fantastic, you stole someone else's video and it happened to have the watermark on it. good job, buddy. But where this gets worse is that it has recently been uncovered that all of the accounts that are posting these sponsored stake ad videos without disclosing it are all the same person or same ring of people. And this gets so much worse because of something I was told by a viewer about 2 weeks ago. And the thing that they brought to me is something I had noticed, but I'd never put two and two together. So I'll get into that in a second. But this thread basically goes through and explains that this account, that account, this account, that account, you know, they are all linked. They're all owned by the same person who, ironically, runs a X account called Fuck Stake, which is posting memes without stake watermarks. But they are the same person that runs the affiliated stake accounts, and they're using this account to promote the other accounts so that people go and watch them and then get the stake adverts again. So this is just madness. Like, it's insane. And where this gets so much worse is the person who made this expose thread on it, well, the person contacted them and basically said that they'll pay them $1,000 to delete the expose thread on this. Which, I mean, if you're willing to pay $1,000 to have this, you know, erased off the internet, they're making a pretty healthy amount of money off this grifting. Now, what my viewer came and told me is that, have you noticed that a lot of these stake videos and threads are now getting community noted immediately, but it is no longer being community noted with this is an unpaid, a paid undisclosed ad. They're now getting community noted with one-word notes such as yes, or hello, or correct, and stuff like that. And that is the top-rated note by an absolute landslide. Which means it's the only one that's shown as a community note until you dig further in, which nobody does. Right? Let's be real. Very few people do that. They look at the first note, and that's the truth. Now, I was told by a viewer that there is apparently a group of people on Discord, and he knows one of them, and I've asked him to try and slime me in here somehow, where people have created hundreds of thousands of community note accounts, of accounts that have basically worked their way up to be able to community note, and then falsely target and upvote community notes as a kind of botnet, essentially. And they charge money for the service to have your community note upvoted and kept as the top. This is the important part. Not just upvoted, but to be kept as the top community note. Which means that all of those accounts that voted on this and posted this community note now have higher standing in the community note kind of system because they were all proven to be the most trustworthy note. Now, this is a big problem because this is a kind of false sense of security for a lot of users on X. A lot of people have relied on community notes to be the better source of truth. Not the source of truth, but the better source of truth. And that is no longer a thing. That is not something you can do. Because these are now giving this false sense of security, and it's completely paid. If this is to be believed, which I do believe, because I've noticed this more and more. And I'm going to get to mainstream media in a second, because there's been something I've noticed with this as well. In fact, you know what? I'll go into it now. Mainstream media in the UK, like BBC and other news sites, have been announcing their departure from X. You know, we're not going to be posting here anymore. Here's where you can find our news articles. And I looked through a lot of the recent things, a lot of their recent posts, and what is happening, these accounts that are making up full stories or taking a hot topic news story, just as an example, this health executive that was recently assassinated, people are taking the mugshot of the guy who, you know, was seen at the crime scene, you know, he was photographed with his bandana on, editing a teardrop tattoo onto his face and saying, they've caught the wrong guy. This is all a cover-up. It's a lie. Here he is here's the actual photo. He's got a teardrop tattoo under his eye. But the guy they've pulled into custody doesn't have that. It's all like a covert operation to distract from who really did it. And it's a really badly photoshopped image. And then tons of people have jumped on and run with this story, that this is a false thing. And what the British news outlets were having as a problem is whenever they posted a story, some fake news Twitters that are really big, by the way, we're talking 500,000 to 3 million followers, would then post the link to their fake article as a community note to prove wrong the mainstream media. And I just want to point this out. I am not saying mainstream media is to be fully believed or that it is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But these community notes are taking a news story, they are conflating it to be something it's not. A complete and utter provable lie. And then having these bot accounts upvote that community note to be the #1 community note under mainstream media posts. And then they're getting harassment because the mainstream media lied. Have there been times when the mainstream media has lied? Yes, absolutely. And it is good that they get called out on it. But the main problem here is that we're rewriting history in real time and millions of people are believing it, perpetuating it, and running with it. And more importantly, profiting off of it. And this is something that I think is going to come to a bit of an implosion soon. Because the transition from Twitter to X has very quickly devolved into just the worst place to be. I think we can almost unanimously agree, for all of us that used Twitter when it was Twitter, before the Elon takeover, it was fantastic. It was the best of what that sort of social media had to offer. There weren't any competitors. And since the Elon takeover, this has shown me that society has kind of just grown to accept mediocrity. It really has. We have just grown to accept mediocrity. And I'll tell you why. I have seen handfuls, at least 10 people, content creators that I know I am friends with and I follow on Twitter, I follow on X rather, say, I'm done with X now. I'm going to Threads. I'm going to Blue Sky. I'm going to go to the better version, you know, the more authentic version of social media, the kind of reformation of Twitter. And there's a really big problem here that I think is going to be kind of an insurmountable task for any social media that is going to spawn out of anywhere, especially in the new ones that, you know, aren't backed by a big company. And that is that unless you have a critical mass, and I'm talking a critical mass of users move to your platform day one, you are not going to last. Or you will very quickly become an echo chamber. And content creators are realizing this. Now, I've been mocked for paying for X Premium. And if I wasn't a content creator and it wasn't a business expense, I wouldn't do it. But I do it because it's the easiest way to contact people who I need to contact for information surrounding video topics I cover and all that sort of stuff. Investigations that I go into, you know, into detail. You can find everyone here. That is something X has got going for it that I don't think people can deny. Everyone's here. So these content creators have moved over to Blue Sky. They've moved over to Mastodon. They've moved over to Threads. And within a week, they've come straight back. And I've looked into a few of these creators, and I'm not going to call them out because I think most of you know that it's most creators who've done this have come back. They have ended up going from 30,000 followers on X to 12 on Threads or 12 on Blue Sky. It doesn't serve the purpose of being a social media. You're posting into the void and no one cares. And I really think this means it's going to be hard to dethrone X because of this. And I do think X needs dethroning because it is a shell of what it used to be. It's just meaningless now. And this brings me on to something that I have thought for the longest time. I have seen so many people posting about getting paid from X Premium, and everyone's always paid a very low amount of money for a large amount of impressions. And then you'll get one person who is a known and proven Elon Musk zealot, who is just like an absolute cock polisher, for lack of a better term, who somehow, with the lowest possible engagement on their posts, and they show the chart of like, oh, I've had 800,000 impressions this month. I got paid $29,000. There's something weird going on here, which is they are trying to get people to pay for premium, because don't forget, you can only earn off your posts if you are a premium user. So you've got to pay to play, pretty much. And I always thought this seems very pyramid-esque, right? Very pyramid scheme, very triangular. Because how many people do you think are buying premium in hopes of being able to accumulate revenue and make money? A lot, I would imagine. And you see a lot of people trying to do this. But what's actually happening here is the people who aren't getting much engagement are having their money seemingly paid forward to the people with the most engagement to try and bring more people into this essentially pyramid scheme. And that's kind of just been proven with a recent announcement. This is a Reddit thread about X's new creator payout scheme, which they've just changed. So I'll give you a read of this. Here we go again. X, formerly Twitter, just announced a major change to its creator monetization program. Instead of sharing ad revenue, they're now only paying creators based on engagement with premium subscribers. Let me be clear, this is another pay-to-play move disguised as creator support. X is basically telling creators, if you want to get paid, push premium subscriptions. And let's face it, that's a pyramid scheme in the making. You need premium subscribers to engage with your content, and then they can earn by getting their own followers to sign up too. It's a never-ending cycle. I saw the writing on the wall with this one, and I knew this was going to come. Not necessarily in this exact form, but it was heading that way. This person has nailed it. Marketing Whisperer has nailed it. It was a pyramid scheme in the making, and the maths wasn't mathing. And now the maths is mathing, in the sense that it also isn't mathing. It makes sense now that it doesn't make sense. So basically, the message X is sending to creators is this. You should only care about premium subscribers engaging with your content. Nobody else matters. Forget about building community. The only people who matter are those paying for X Premium. F community, the only thing that counts now is premium users and their dollars. This isn't about supporting creators, it's about turning creators into salespeople for X Premium. And this is so on the money. People have known that this is going to happen for a long time, or have theorized that this is going to happen. And I'm going to be honest, this still won't deter people from X. People will still keep going. And it has just become a cesspit, a cesspool of just nothing. And you don't have to scroll far to find these stake posts that I was talking about. Like, here's one right now. Your eyes are violated by stake every 45 to 60 seconds if you're scrolling through X. And it's a huge problem, and I don't know how they're actually going to deal with this. And my honest opinion is that they're not going to deal with this. And I'm going to scroll before this guy pulls out a weapon. It's not going to work. I don't think there is a way where you can fix this. Now, I am a proponent of free speech, and I want to make something clear. I think free speech is good. I think if you exercise free speech, as I think everybody should, you should also be willing to take the repercussions for when you are wrong, when you are lying, when you have just outright made something up. I think you should face consequences for that. Now, here's the problem. That doesn't happen on X. Community notes were meant to be that, and they are not. But yeah, guys, this is just something I wanted to cover because I think this is going to go parabolic in the next couple of months. This is going to reach a point where it can't be ignored, and something has got to happen with this. Because all of this we've spoken about today is just outright harmful. Yeah, a massive thank you to my Discord for posting this topic and pointing me towards it, or at least parts of this topic. If you have any topics like this that you want me to explore, dive into, and talk about, drop them in my Discord, link in the description below. And as always, a massive thank you to my patrons. You guys are absolute legends, and I cannot thank you enough. And until next time, take care.